Hello, it has been one long week, but we are back with the OCS. This is week number 10. The split has gone absolutely everywhere, all over the place. We're almost at the end. Second last week of regular season play. You are, of course, Max. Welcome back to the desk.
Yep, it's good to be back, and I'm keen for this one because 2 weeks left. Every game is important for someone in some facet.
Yeah, there are kind of a few little interesting interactions, you know what I mean? Like, as you get towards the end of the split, you do have kind of different situations that can arise. It's like the boring one, where the top teams are just, like, booming the bottom ones, and then they all play each other, and it's the last couple of weeks, and it's just like, yeah, first versus last, like, you know what you expect. But that's not going to be it. We have a bunch of interesting games today.
No, we definitely, I'm super keen for that 9th versus 10th match. No, but in all seriousness, no, looking through what we have, like Gravitas versus Dire Cubs is going to be awesome. Starting us off, the Mprox versus Legacy, I think that's going to be super good. And even Mammoth versus Bombers, Bombers are that middle D team, as you can see right here.
Yeah, 100%. And playoff stakes are definitely on the rise for a lot of these guys. Even far down the ladder, you can look at a team like QUT, slim chances and out of their control, but you certainly can actually make it to the playoffs. But yes, this is going to be the schedule that we have for you today. Mprox Legacy, as you mentioned, very good game to start it off. QUT Tigers must take down the Chiefs to keep their playoff dreams alive. Definitely a hard task so far. Gravitas versus the Cubs. AV versus Order. UQ Union and UTS battling it out. UTS still yet to get a victory. Bragging rights definitely need to be there, and they want to get themselves on the board. And rounding out of the day is going to be another spicy one with Mammoth versus the Bombers.
I love the story of if QUT can somehow get to this crazy 4-way tiebreaker. The math is there. There is a chance for them to happen, and I'm part of me is kind of hoping for that just because I love chaos and everything. That's a tough order.
Yeah, okay, I have another question, and it's to do with the hot trash that is sitting above us right now. Which one is your favorite? Did you watch the segment? Did you watch their creation?
Unfortunately, I did miss the segment.
No.
But I have to admit, I know you want me to say yours.
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm not going to.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to go right over there to the zombie. Yeah, zombie Ovalie.
Yeah, she definitely has never looked worse than she has in that painting right there. Nick created an absolute monstrosity. I will say, it was definitely really fun, and I did my half of the painting first, and then Rusty completely ruined it, and I've now said that both on the OPL and on the OCS, so I'm happy with my life.
Well, I mean, Rusty's half does kind of match with the Ovalie thing, with the dead look in the eyes.
Yeah, there's kind of from good to bad as you go, from right to left. Yeah, okay. I can respect that one, but of course we do have some League of Legends to get to today. Interestingly, to point out before we actually talk about these two teams specifically, patch 9.13, recent release, Mordekaiser enabled for the first time in forever.
Yep.
The rework has just introduced a bajillion bugs, and he hasn't been able to get any play, but is playable here today. Legacy going to hit us with a no-fun first ban, though, but Kiana also on the table and pickable.
Yeah, that said, though, I'm not really thinking we're going to see much of Kiana today. I still think she's too new. I think people haven't really gotten the grasp of her yet.
Just too new? You think
too new? People haven't gotten the grasp of her yet, and I don't know if teams have really found out where she belongs in what kind of composition.
Yeah.
And as we're getting to these later, more high-pressure games, it's almost as if you got to stick with what you know, I feel. Stick with the safer, easy-to-execute team compositions.
Yeah. Potentially, if anyone was going to play it, I would think it would be a team like Legacy, but of course they're on red side and they do just ban it away. Maud, given his strength, we haven't really seen him be played that much, but what you see or hear about in scrims, at least what you see in solo queue, super busted, very difficult to play around, so it does deserve a ban, but as you mentioned, Kiana, incredibly new. I like people that are willing to experiment, and you kind of do get into differing situations depending on what team you are at the end of the split. How much do your games really matter? Are you playing for seeding? Are you playing for a playoff spot? Stuff like that. But obviously, no shenanigans going to be afoot here, and everything is just going to get banned away.
You say no shenanigans, but I'm saying a first lock Yasuo, so that begs a bit of a different story there. Plus, it's coming from a team that is fighting for one of those top 2 seats.
Yeah.
They want that free semifinal, and so they're coming out, they have some spice up their sleeves.
Yeah, certainly do, because taking a look at Mprox, right? 7-2 on the ladder. They have Legacy and Dire Cubs to play this week and next week. So super important games against challenging opponents. Of course, 9-13 means that we are after the Karma buffs. She did kind of get reverted a little bit this patch, but still going to be banned away on blue side here as Legacy do pick up their response.
Yeah, Legacy looking like they have their bot lane already in motion. The Xayah Nautilus.
Yeah, so interesting one. I feel like Drakon has a high propensity to pick up stuff like the Xayah, has had some fairly good games this split, so does make a lot of sense, and I feel like I say it a lot, but Legacy is that flexible team, and when you are on red side, every single time it makes sense to leave the counter pick options there for your solo laners, especially given that I feel like I had a conversation with Tim on broadcast last week about like the solo laners, or not last week, the week before. And of course he's come in here today and just changed where they are in the in like the roles, but it obviously means literally nothing for Legacy, because as soon as they get into game they could walk wherever they please.
I do like how Mprox is definitely looking to pick around that Yasuo already with the Ornn and the Alistar. That's our two fairly easy to execute knockups. So Mprox already putting a lot of pressure onto Lived right there in the mid lane.
And it's like multifaceted, I think. Because yes, you can look at Yasuo and be like, knockup's good. We've ticked the box, like we have a Yasuo comp. But it's also like multi-layered engage. Yasuo, if he can get his own knockup, great. The Alistar is there to do it for you reliably, like Flash, Headbutt, Pulverize combo, super good. But then you have kind of the second phase of an Ornn. If it is piloted by Berserker, if we see it down in like the bottom lane in some sort of wacky lane, could be a possibility, but like there is like the stage 1, stage 2, you have so many chances to get that fight starting, which the Yasuo comp I'm expecting to see sort of needs to get rolling.
Yeah, and also I think it suit really well with one of those AD carries who just like to sit back and auto at this stage as well, because you have that chain CC, you can really throw that down. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go for something like a Jinx.
Yeah, or even like something like Kai'Sa, you know what I mean? Like has been big pickup for Mboma this split, so certainly a lot of options left on the table. Of course, Azir, long-range ban, makes a lot of sense into a comp like Mprox has been putting together. And also going to ban away the jungler. Of course, neither team has opted in for one of their own. I guess Riven can jungle. Legacy in the OCS in the past has picked it up, but okay. Sure. Yep.
This looks like something out of my games. You see Yasuo get locked in? Yeah, might as well go with the Rammus.
This looks like make the Yasuo's life miserable.
Yes.
Like there's no missing the CC from the Rammus. A couple of changes on this patch. I'm not well versed in what they are.
Yep.
I was briefly scrolling before the show as well, and I'm going through like, okay, Rammus, like I don't need a refresher on that one. It's not going to see you play, but
I believe the direct quote was Rammus. Yeah, who cares?
Yeah,
let's keep going.
Lisa's just like, yeah, okay, we'll pick this one up, and yeah, okay.
I'm actually not as surprised about this Heimerdinger as you think I would be.
Yeah, why's that?
Birdies.
Birdies? Ah, okay. You've
I've
heard some things.
I've heard some things about this Heimerdinger, and it's something that, you know, Mprox has kind of opted to fall back on, perhaps. So I'm curious to see it actually in action now.
Okay, so I'm assuming going to be solo lane Nico, solo lane Yasuo, depending on the matchups where they go top or mid. Probably Yasuo in the mid lane, but then Heimer Ali in the bottom side on jungle.
Yep.
Does make a lot of sense here. So interesting stuff already. Legacy, they do have the last laugh here. Riven already locked in and, of course, is flexible. Yeah. So 5 seconds to make a choice.
All right, looks like they're going to go with the LeBlanc.
Okay.
LeBlanc into Nico?
I expect it's going to be the Yasuo, right? Riven into Nico on the top side.
So
probably
Ornn
can...
jungle?
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe?
Yeah, I actually think it might be the Nico?
Nico jungle? Okay.
Okay, Mprox is like, I'm not surprised to see the Heimerdinger, but I wasn't actually expecting it bot lane. That's kind of what's throwing me off right now.
Oh, no. I think that makes the most sense.
It does make the most sense, I suppose.
Yeah, like in terms of just play, Heimerdinger bot lane probably receives the most. Can bully out something like the Xayah. Very easy to force the Featherstorm if you do want to go towards that. And okay, there it is.
Yeah, so it will be the Ornn jungle.
Yeah. Okay, like for a second, you like said it, and I'm sitting here like, am I really stupid? Like, what do you mean? Like, why haven't I seen any of this? But that makes more sense to me.
Yeah, that makes more sense to me. It does make more sense to me as well, but we've seen some crazy things already.
Yes.
I'm looking at one Elo taking Yorick in every lane wherever he wants to go. So at this stage, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Nico in the jungle.
Yeah.
It's just, granted, from a team like Mprox, that would be a bit more surprising. I feel they are typically a bit more conventional, although, yeah, first Heimerdinger I believe we've seen in the OCS, so that's a bit of a change.
Yeah, certainly. He had kind of the height of the meta, I believe, last year, towards the end of 2018. Received a bunch of play, received a little bit of nerfing here and there, but he's going to see play here today. Mprox up there at the top of the ladder, only a single point behind the top dogs in Mammoth right now, so certainly fighting to make their claim. Of course, as we get into the postseason, you do have buys for the first 2 seeds, 1 and 2 going through to further on into the bracket. And no, that is actually going to be Mboma piloting the Heimerdinger in the mid lane, it looks like, and Liv going down with the Alistar. Okay.
Yep. Okay, so I was half right then. Heimerdinger is going to be going in that mid lane, it looks like.
Yeah, I actually didn't pay attention to the summoners, so that would have given it away.
Yeah.
And I'm not too sure if they weren't changed on Spectator or if I did just not notice. but does make sense. I could see them be flipped if they choose, but given the matchups, don't really want something super volatile like a Yasuo when you do have an Ornn jungle. That just seems like a recipe for Rammus to just spam gank your mid lane and you have absolutely zero counter players lived on the Yasuo. So I guess I like the choice to throw him down into the bottom side. You have the protection of the Alistar. You obviously have the synergy we were talking about earlier, so...
It's actually going to make this game really hard for Lisa, I find like, in order to find entryways and to get successful ganks off.
Yeah.
I'm almost curious if he's going to be instead opting to focus more on invading and going after Paladin and perhaps Berserker in the top lane.
Yeah, potentially. I feel like he has a lot of like lanes with setup, right? It's going to be hard for him to run at a Heimerdinger because you go in a straight line and he hits you with a grenade and you can't do anything. Same can be said for the Nico. Same can be said for the bottom side where you have the alley to kind of throw you around, but... if the lanes can set things up for the Rammus, I expect kind of chain ganking to be the play. Artek is looking like he's going to ward, and he does. Legacy Genesis is going to be able to clear that one, but looking for a cheeky little play level 1 of the Tribush, and they weren't able to find anything.
No, they're not going to find it just yet, but I do like the aggressive posturing coming right now out of Legacy. They are already trying to exert themselves, maybe push Mprox back a bit. What I also find interesting, though, is the fact that both junglers have opted for the red side start, so it doesn't look like they'll be running into each other very early in this one. I feel as if that's probably a good thing for Lisa, but would you care to explain?
Well, I feel like neither of them really want to fight each other. Like, a Rammus isn't going to be killing an Ornn, and an Ornn isn't going to be killing a Rammus. Like, they all want to interact with the lanes. Lisa does have access to more things early, right? Like, this is a spellbook taken to the jungle, so he does lack combat stats for the earlier lanes, and in terms of gank threat, you certainly do favor a Rammus over an Ornn. So I expect Lisa to be the more proactive one. He's going to leave away the little Kroggy boy there, but you can see on the way, Ping's already in the mid lane. And has a timing window and is choosing to use it right now. No wards above the mid side there for Mprox as Lisa is going for the full wraparound.
This is kind of what I was expecting almost from the Rammus. So he's going to be looking. Ball's coming through right now. Mboma is none the wiser. Does get able to get to him.
Okay,
Taunt comes down. Appy trying to follow up. Flashing for it. Gets the root, but flash for flash.
Yeah, okay. Interesting trade there. Maybe a little bit of miscommunication between the mid-jungle duo of Lisa and Appy. And huge commit there from the LeBlanc without the follow-up from that Rammus. Definitely had the lockdown and possibly could have just got that flash for free, but do end up trading one of their own. Lisa still, though, looking towards the top side. Chungy did just get chucked out very nicely there for Berserker, and the wave is pushing back, but this does kind of open up an opportunity. You can see Paladin, whilst this has all been happening, has just literally hard-farmed his jungle. Every camp down, sitting around, hasn't been spotted out by any vision, and I believe would have just barely escaped the vision plant there as well.
I believe he has avoided it, but because he wasn't spotted, that does mean Lisa will be looking for this gank. Is able to connect with the correct Berserker, but taunts the wrong one. A little bit of a mistake right there. Good turnaround with the Tango Barbs. Chungy in a bit of trouble, trying to walk away. Lisa should be able to protect this Riven, at least for now.
Yeah.
Berserker possibly still looking for it. In the end, will back off.
Honestly, very nicely played there from the Nico. Baits them out, and that was the expected play. You look to see the one that is slightly further off towards that turret. Hit him with the taunt, but Lisa gets the juke out. Taunts the clone, and nothing is going to happen there. Actually, a 2v1 opportunity there for Berserker, and fights his way back into this. Means he also gets to shove his wave all the way into the turret without threat of that counter gank. He kind of has the timer offhandedly. A little bit of, I don't know, napkin math coming through. We can judge that one, but that is a very early invade.
Yeah, I mean, it's an early invade triggered from the failed gank in the top lane. You know, if you know where Lisa is, might as well play the opposite side of the map. So lane was pushed up, a good little rotation, a nice blue buff secured for Mprox right now. And if you're on the blue side or an Mprox fan, you have to be very happy with the start because it seems everything going blue way.
Yeah, 100%, right? Like, yes, you've lost a flash in mid lane, but because of the misplay, it is equalized. There is no kind of disadvantage there, as you would expect. And now Lisa is basically half the CS of his jungle counterpart, also given that he has ganked twice and failed in both of them, unfortunately. Means that this Ornn has got away with murder in the early stages of this game. Got himself the blue smite, working on his second full clear of the jungle, I expect, coming through. And the closer he gets to 6, the better for blue team. Mprox very happy with this one, as you mentioned.
Now, I have to admit, I am a little bit unfamiliar with the orange jungle right now. Is Unsealed Spellbook typically what you take?
I think we saw it at Rift Rivals, and it was played, and like Unsealed Spellbook is the keystone. He doesn't really benefit from anything else in the jungle, like most of like the Resolve Tree users, right? There isn't many in the jungle that can get away with it. Rammus, tons of AoE, but he goes for the Aftershock for that gank survivability, I guess, for lack of a better term. But Ornn is really an engaged tank that comes from the jungle that isn't really in the front line to start things off. Like, you think about something like maybe a Sejuani, a Zac, a Gragas. If he goes Resolve, is kind of very weird for him to go that route. Most often goes for the AP, but think about like how the ganks will start. It's an Alistar like starting the fight. This is a return, though.
Yeah, a 3-man under the tower after Mboma. Easy first blood secured by Chungi.
Yeah, just very well played. The rotation is there. K-pop already walking up the river. Absolutely no response from the Heimerdinger. When you get dove from behind your turret, there really isn't many avenues to walk towards, so kind of just cops it. Does have the TP to get himself back into this lane, and his jungler is going to hold the wave as best as possible.
Actually, it's pretty good for Mboma. Like, yes, dying is very bad, but he's not going to lose out on much experience or CS as a result. Plus, as this was going on, too, I mean, Lived and Arctic was able to kind of shove in that bot lane, build that CS advantage over Drakon as K-pop was roaming up, who, unfortunately, he didn't get the assist either, so it's kind of an unfortunate roam for him. Yes, you lose first blood, but it's not the worst case scenario for him.
Yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world. This lane isn't out of control as of yet, right? Like, if that was the second gank and the first one was successful, they blew it without the LeBlanc flash, and then you really look at this, it's like, okay, he's in a precarious position, right? He doesn't really win the 1v1. If he cannot shove the lane, the Heimerdinger really can't function. And if he's being pushed in by a LeBlanc in a situation like that, then it could be super rough, but of course this isn't quite the case. Actually has a CS lead due to the TP, and the fact that, yes, they got the dive off, but weren't able to crash the wave super early. The bounce is there, and it's kind of sitting pretty right now. Another returning roam to the mid lane, I believe. Spidey senses are tingling there from Mboma, knows exactly what's going on.
Yep, so no commitment to that one this time around. They do get some nice vision wards around that Mountain Drake, which we'll be seeing first, but not enough really to commit to it just yet. A good timing by Mprox to return back to the bot lane before anything can really happen.
Yeah, just looking for an opportunity, right? Like, they knew that they were walking up towards the river mid, and if they take the greedy way, if they're like, okay, we don't know where the jungler is, but we'll walk back through river anyway, then that's an Alistar, that's an Ornn, that's a very easy cleanup kill, so Paladin floats down, but of course, Legacy play respectful and aren't going to fall to the bait.
Yeah, and Mprox is not a team that you really want to greed against. Like, greeting against, say, Heimerdinger or at Alistar Yasuo, I think it's just asking to be punished. Yeah. So I do have to commend Legacy, you know, playing the patient game, taking the opportunities that they can truly find, like we saw once in mid lane. Also, if I can go slightly off topic, just real quick.
Okay.
At first I thought the paintings were funny. Now they're starting to get a little distracting when they're right next to the screen.
Yeah, because we turn around when we cast, so we're just looking at it, and it's like whack Froscurin is just kind of looking
staring
over
us
you.
down
Yeah.
as we watch this game, judging everything that is happening.
Yeah, it's a little weird. It's a little bit weird.
It's like our own live audience right now.
Yeah, except they're not alive.
No.
They're just paintings. They're just really ominous.
Really ominous hollow inside paintings. Good. Deathblind connecting right there onto Artek, but no real follow-up in terms of damage-wise. Lisa has around. He has made himself known, but I don't think he's going to commit to this one just yet. Everyone's warded up. Everyone's safe.
They were looking to make something happen, and Alistar really the only target that presents himself. Kind of rough as a Nautilus to get onto a Yasuo kind of willy-nilly whenever you want. Like, you can't just cast a Dredge line and hope that it lands, because Windwall will come out and deny that one. So they get the ulti from Artek. Of course, it does mean that Lisa has to show, but he's down here and has pressure anyway. That is the rip back used from Drakon, but this dragon is falling fairly low.
This dragon
double
is
TP.
Yeah, teleport's coming through right now. Looks like Legacy is going to abandon ship, but K-pop has been jumped on by Liv. Not back towards Berserker as that dragon is secured by Legacy. Here comes the Pop Blossom. It only connects with one, but a big Ornhorn actually connects with a couple more. Already one down as Legacy as Oppi is trying to back away. Artek onto Drakon. Nowhere for this Xayah to go. She will go down. K-pop stuck as well in between a rock and a hard place. 3 kills for Mprox.
Yeah, they get themselves the dragon. They get themselves a triple kill. Chungi pops the ulti and...
Oh no! Oppi did not able to get away, as a matter of fact, so it's 4 kills for Mprox.
And that is just disastrous. You saw Lisa in the pit. He's taking down the dragon, and he's a little old Rammus that everybody has the flank of. There was no fight to be had there for Legacy, but despite the fact that their jungler dies securing the dragon, yes, they pick that one up, but The call is still made. They try and look for the fight. A straight up 4 versus 5. Chungy didn't even make it to that point. Used his ulti to try and steal away a crab. Emphasis on try because he didn't even get it at the end there, so...
Yeah, and that is a disaster for
yeah.
Legacy, giving up 4 kills for none. Mountain Drake secured. Maybe they can make use of that later in this game, but at the moment, if you're on Legacy, you have to be thinking damage control at this stage.
Oh, 100%, and they really don't have a lot of options, because the lanes were all ever so slightly trending in the direction of Mprox. You see the CS discrepancy in all 3 lanes right now, approaching kind of that 20-minute mark across the board. And yes, you have the early gank threat of Aramis, and they were looking to get this game rolling early. They have CC, they have gank set up in all 3 of their lanes, but unable to find the early fights and picks that they were looking for, and now this game is ever so slowly slipping out of their control. Almost a 4,000 gold lead here for Mprox, and Legacy flipping the map in response here.
Yeah, it looked like they were trying to set up vision for the Rift Herald and maybe try to make a play on it, but Mprox is able to respond in kind. Both teams kind of grouping as 5 and very early.
Yeah, I think Legacy was just like looking for the response. They didn't quite have vision, and were like, yes, they've already flipped in the hands of Mprox, so they're like, okay, we need to check the Rift Herald. Not necessarily looking to try to take it down themselves, given how far down in tempo they were. Because Mprox like won the fight, reset, deployed topside, whereas Legacy lost the fight, lost 4 kills, deployed bottom side, and then had to go for like the walk of shame across the map. So we're significantly behind in that regard, and now just trying to cling to some of that topside control.
It's always a bad sign, too, when you can't even get the Rift Herald consolation prize. As Obby, good job doing with the wave clear right there. A lot of vision and a lot of pressure in the mid lane. Each jungler was kind of looking for that opportunity. Not going to find it this time around.
Yeah, using Distort very aggressively there. Had actually vision of the Ornn, which is surprising, but Ornn doesn't have to be very far away for his ulti to still connect. So distorting into the wave is a brave call, but knew exactly what was going on.
I'm actually very excited to see what Paladin can do right now with this lead he has on the Ornn. I feel as if because the jungle is going so heavily in Mprox's favor, I want to see him get a bit more aggressive. Maybe start trying to force some plays and push Mprox's lead.
Yeah, I think like it's going to come in the next couple of minutes, right? Like the Yasuo hasn't hit first item yet, neither is the Heimerdinger. Nico, yes, has, because she goes for the Inspiration Tree. He's able to just kind of whack away the entire laning phase there. Not quite a Klepto build, of course, given he has the Glacial, but goes for the double Super Soaker into the Spooky Ghosts. Incredibly cheap item spikes, but this is a comp that, yes, wants to fight, but they want to fight collectively. They need all 5 members to start this one up, and until they get to those breakpoints, I do expect them to just kind of do this. They have control of the map. Like, they have enough vision to deny the Ramesses ganks, and Lisa hasn't been able to find one so far. And if that's a situation they can kind of sit in for 2-3 minutes to get to their spikes, then honestly very good here from Mprox.
Yeah, I think you really hit the nail on the head. Like, if Mprox can transition their ability to absorb this pressure into turning it around and just wombo comboing these 5-man fights, this game is going to go completely in their way. Like, they're doing what their team comp is meant to do, and they're kind of showing why they're one of the topper teams in the OCS right now.
Yeah, to put it in perspective for like things that people actually care about, they're playing Pirate Gunslingers and they're working on their Blade Masters. It's coming through, you know what I mean? They got 1 Blade of the Ruin King. All they need is a cheeky little Aatrox, and then they're just the Draven's going to come online. They're just sitting, they're just waiting. That's what they need to do.
I'm almost inclined to say, you know, they might be going for that whole Glacial Ranger thing just because we do see the Glacial on the Nico up top.
Yeah.
Although she doesn't have the Frozen Mallet, so I'm not sure how effective that's
I feel like single Glacial is definitely a bad comp. Not gonna lie. It's just, is it even a comp?
I don't know.
It's just kind of pathetic. Just one.
Have you ever lived the dream of 6 Nobles, 6 Glacials with 3 Frozen Mallets?
That sounds disgusting. No, I haven't. I don't like Nobles. I don't think Nobles are good.
I think they're fantastic at transitioning. I think they're strong
Really?
in the early game. You go with 3.
Oh, yeah.
And
Like,
you take that to
it's because, like, Fiora, like, nobody's picking up a Fiora.
No.
So, like, you just get, if you want a Fiora, you can have a Fiora. Like, the game's just like, please take them. Like, you can't hold this many Fioras. It's disgusting.
Oh, it looks like it's going to be a free Mountain Drake perhaps as well for Mprox. No vision whatsoever for Legacy, so they're not even going to try and step forward and contest it. They are going to go ahead, concede that objective, and knowing that Legacy is starting to fall back a bit, where are they going to be looking for their power spikes now?
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, yes, you do have a crit 80 carry eventually in the Xayah, but with Essence Reaver first, just sitting on a bunch of flat AD and a bunch of CDR right now, so isn't enough to take over the game. They always will have kind of that one-hit threat of a Riven comp. Chungy has had some very good performances this split, and certainly capable of taking over the game in just like a one-champ, one-wonder sort of situation, but collectively, This is certainly a situation that Emprox want to be in, and is looking very successful right now. Because yes, they got themselves the Dragon, Mountain, super valuable for a comp like theirs, but more importantly, they've now hit exactly what I was talking about. Static Shiv on the Yasuo, Luden's on the Heimerdinger. Almost 2 items here completed for the Nico, and K-pop very close to being caught out there, but I expect the boys on blue side, Emprox, are going to be looking much more aggressively now, and this may just be the start of it.
Yeah, this will be the start of the Rift Herald. You can see Berserker's already sitting back, waiting for that opportunity to teleport in. They're looking for that 5v5 fight. Lisa and K-pop, though, they're more concerned with maybe getting an angle on Mboma, clearing out the vision. The teleports are coming through right now, so they are going to commit for this. I'm worried Berserker's actually in a bad position. Dreadline connecting immediately. Berserker runs straight past Chunky, but the Pop Blossom is able to only hit with a couple. Yes, he bought time, but it was not enough to secure that Rift Herald, and Legacy are 1 kill up, looking for possible more. Not going to find it just yet. Chungy's actually going right back to that Rift Herald, trying to work it down as the rest of Legacy are kind of starting to converge on it. Boba gets a big double stun, but there's no follow-up out of Emprox just yet. Chungy acting at that front line. They were able to secure the Rift Herald, and now they will back off.
Yeah, and a very large misplay from Berserker. TP's in, gets collapsed onto 3. Yes, he pops the ulti, as you mentioned. Bought some time, but flashed into the wall, so he died anyway. The rest of Emprox have to peel off the Rift Herald. Weren't able to take that one down, and on their item spikes, on their fight, they were looking to start that one off. Legacy completely walk in. Another kill on the Riven now, sitting 2-0, and they pick up the Rift Herald.
That said, though, Chungy's a bit on the run right now. Artek definitely looking for the knock-up. Here comes the Steel Tempest follow-up. Chungy's so low already, he's going to have to flash underneath the tower. Lisa says hello. Can't do much to help, though.
Yeah, he's going to eat the wave, I expect, but the potential for a turnaround if Chungy burnt the flash early, still had HP. Could have been like the commit there from Artek. He's already burnt the headbutt, and maybe he could have made something happen, but Chungy waits for it, burns the summoner, and doesn't have TP once again to get himself back to lane.
If we could go back to that previous fight that we've seen, though, that really was, like, the more I think about it, the more I realize Berserker did exactly what the team comp does not want to do, as Berserker getting caught out again. Pop Blossom will go down, but it does not connect onto Oppie. The chain rooting in place and securing the kill. Oppie bringing Legacy back into this game.
Yeah, very nicely played. On the precipice of Pop Blossom, hits him with a double chain, locks him down, and absolutely nothing he can do. Abby knew exactly what Berserker did last fight, and that was flash right into a wall. So without the summoner down, he's just like, yep, that's a freebie. And now actually gets some pressure in the side lane. In a game that I was looking at, I'm like, this is just slipping. It doesn't look like there's a way back in for Legacy. The comp is not in a position for success, but a single fight now, if Abby can start making things happen in the side lane continuously, like Rammus is a very good side lane ganker, incredibly quick to make things happen, and side lane threat could be their avenue back into this one. The gold lead has shrunk from what was a 4,000 gold lead in about 15 minutes back to within touching distance. 1,000 between the two guys now.
Yeah, it's amazing how one misstep out of Emprox, not playing their comp correctly in a fight, having a member get caught out, and all of a sudden it almost feels as if their competition is about to break wide open. Appy on that side lane right now is drawing the attention back from Berserker, but I'm worried that we could see a repeat of what we've seen before, especially with the rest of Legacy roaming down. Berserker feels the same way and is going to retreat back to the tower.
Yeah, Emprox have actually, like in their merit, done a very good job at spotting out the Rammus. The amount of times he's just been zooming around the jungle or zooming towards a lane and has just rolled over a pink ward, probably couldn't count on one hand here. It's getting up there. Legacy right now fishing for an opportunity to use their Rift Herald. I expect that this deploy is going to be it. Enhanced Recall does come out for the Rammus, and now that Appy gets to deploy back towards bottom side, has his HP, has his mana, wants to make something happen.
Dredge line escape for K-pop. Yeah. Teleport was used by Mboma, but it's not really going to result in too much besides some mid pressure right now. Legacy is in a good position, though, to sort of act and defend at the moment. In fact, even Berserker is starting to roam back up towards the mid lane as well. I'm curious if Abby will follow, but instead he's going to wait for the ambush on the way back. Meanwhile, Emprox still looking for a way into this jungle. Lisa might be the target, or they might look back towards mid lane. They need to decide on something.
I expect the Rammus is going to go drop the Rift Herald bot. That's timing out incredibly soon, but the Dragon is spawning in 4 seconds. Emprox get themselves mid-control. That's a root.
Yeah, that's a root, and the follow-up CC is there, but K-pop with the timely stopwatch buys a lot of time. Pop Blossom will hit with 2, and here comes the Ornn Horde. It might hit everyone except the team's already wiped. So instead, nothing's going to follow up right there. Poor Arctic cannot get out alive. Berserker trying to run away towards the enemy base, but a nice use of the blasting cone actually gets in a bit of trouble. Does secure the kill. Drakon almost went down for that.
And how does this keep happening? Mprox, they look for the fight. They use all their buttons on the Nautilus, and Stopwatch buys just that crucial little bit of a time. LeBlanc comes in for the side lane. Riven does exactly the same thing. Wombo over the top, and two back-to-back fights. Legacy, they turn around topside to get themselves the Rift Herald, do exactly the same thing on bottom, and now that's an Infernal Dragon. Gold lead for the first time this game in the hands of Legacy. Yeah, Legacy's really starting to turn this around for them after that first 15 minutes seems so rough. All of a sudden, everything's going Legacy's way, and looking at the larger picture, if Legacy is able to pull this one through, all of a sudden, Mprox, they're not really looking at that top 2 position anymore, and Legacy might be that team that sneaks in and gets that number 2 seat. Could be the case. It's incredibly close when you get towards the top of the ladder. Everybody fighting for positions right now, and you mentioned everything going their way. Like, the kills are also on the right targets. Riven now at 3, LeBlanc at 3. Yes, kind of sucks if you're Drakon, but is serving his purpose so far. Gets the feathers over the top of a team fight, and if Mboma, or rather Mprox, just are using all their buttons to start off a kill onto a Nautilus, then the team fights I expect will continue to go this way. Maybe a little bit trigger happy and expended too many cooldowns, so Legacy get round number 2 of the punish.
Yeah, as we are continuing into this one, what I find interesting is it almost looks as if Mprox has resorted back to maybe their more traditional lanes, except flipped from the start, but it's like, once again, they're trying to spread the map out. They're not really grouping as much as they were before, and I guess they're going to try and absorb some of this resurgence Legacy pressure, but at some stage, they are going to have to group again.
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with the fact that they don't want to put Heimerdinger against LeBlanc in the side lane. Like, Mboma has a 75 HP turret to sit under mid lane. He gets blue buffs if he's sitting in mid lane, and he can just wave clear indefinitely. There's no way that Xayah is realistically hitting anything. Which means that they do kind of, like, they have to play towards their bottom lane. The Yasuo, the Alistar being thrown up topside is going to be their pressure point. Kind of just ultimately ends up that way, but that is
Oppie is in a lot of trouble. The damage is there. Oppie's going to try and walk away. Flash has been used. Lisa had the opportunity to counter-engage, is not going to take it, so good escape from the LeBlanc.
Yeah, interesting sort of play there. Didn't see the start of that one. Don't know whether Artek had used the Pulverize fairly early, but they found some access to Appy, and he does lose his flash this time.
Mprox is sticking around, however. That said, though, I don't think either team wants to look for the fight, at least just yet. Definitely would be in Legacy's favor. Like, you can look at the map, see Chungi was potentially willing to teleport into that one. Obs against it, so he's going to keep putting pressure on the bot side of the map as, oh, bit of an engage onto Lisa. No follow-up this time, though.
Yeah, the LeBlanc being in base means there's no real counter-attack. Artek is just kind of being annoying. As you mentioned, yes, Chungi is incredibly strong at the side lane, constantly having priority and just rotating off that time and time again, actually getting himself some very nice deep vision just above your screen right now. We'll spot any sort of gank attempt from an Ornn, because, like, yes, he can walk through the lane, but he is most likely going to come through the jungle if he's going to try influence the side lane at all, and that probably is deep enough for, like, a rank 2 or Ornn ulti, so makes a lot of sense here, and is kind of hard for Mprox to deal with a Riven just at this point. Yes, he has TP, so we can join a fight on the other side of the map, but with Baron being up, you don't want to expend too many resources dealing with Chungi, and we mentioned it earlier, he is the man I'm kind of looking at to take over this game if Legacy are able to keep springboarding this lead into oblivion.
That's it. With Baron up, however, that could be an opportunity for Mprox to possibly find that dream team fight that they want. So Legacy has to be very careful about when they pull the trigger in terms of playing for this Baron buff at the moment. As you can see sort of at the map right now, things do look good for Legacy in that they have mid pressure being applied right there. Pressure definitely being applied bot lane with Chungi as well. It's only top lane where I feel Mprox has been able to keep things stable for them in the past 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah.
But if Legacy is able to get that going their way, they could be looking at Baron very soon.
Yeah, they could, and it is due to the fact that Paladin, his bottom side camps were up. Like, it's as simple as that. He was like, I need to farm these, so I leave top side. All of a sudden, we just have no priority in the map, and we do kind of just have that ebb and flow of League of Legends. But Legacy, they have done nothing for 5 minutes. And that's exactly what they should do. Like, they don't want to walk to Baron. If you walk into the pit against an Ali, a Yasuo, an Ornn, like, every single person on this Mprox lineup has some form of, like, AoE crowd control. And that is just not a situation you want to be in. So if they can open up the map and, like, just let Chungi keep, like, trickling away at this bottom tower. He's going to get more farm. Like, now he has a Death Stance. That's 2 items completed. The Nico's items are just straight up cheaper, right? Like, Spooky Ghost is just, it's kind of irrelevant. You build it for the active. Yes, it has some nice stats, but like it's a baby item. It's a supportive item at best here. So if they can open up the map and just keep playing this style where if they can get access to the dragons with Chungy's pressure, yes, it's an air, but they just keep building and building those ones up, then it's definitely a good situation.
Yeah, and it definitely looks like Mprox has not had an answer whatsoever to Legacy doing nothing. Like, as you were saying, Chungy had been bot side for the past 5 minutes, essentially just farming, and no one had made any real attempt to stop him. Mprox content to sort of wait for that perfect opportunity, but as a result of that, they're going to be conceding a Cloud Drake right now. Not the worst dragon to concede, but if I'm casting, odds are we're going to see a few of those tonight. So, I don't know. I feel like Mprox, I would like to see him get a bit more proactive at this stage.
Yeah, I agree, but I think it's a lot to do with how the early game panned out. Like, if you kind of like think about how things happen.
Well, here's your proactive play.
Yeah, okay,
let's just hard start Baron right now, and with no vision on it, it does mean K-pop is going to have to step forward. Does spot out Mprox, but Baron's already quite low. Teleport's coming down, but Baron's already down to under 1,000. It is secured by Mprox, but here comes the fight. The Ornhorn through the middle hits 3. Health bars are getting low for Legacy, but no one has gone down just yet, and Boma is the first one to die and may be the only one.
Okay, so can they get away with just 2 members gone? 3 Barons walk away from the fighting, yes. Lisa looking for more, but Nico hits him with a root and does just back away. So, as I was just saying, like the early game, all the towers are up. It's hard to force things. That's what it takes. Alistar pops the ult button and stands in the pit. They're relying on Artek to keep Lisa at bay, and does exactly that. They secure the Baron and they get away with just 2 deaths.
Yeah, I mean, that's not bad. I didn't even see what happened to Liv in that fight. I hate to admit it. Like, he just kind of disappeared before things even really went down. But Baron is exactly what Mprox, I feel, needs, because they can mitigate the damage from the side lanes with those Baron-empowered minions, and it allows them to sort of get control back in their way.
Yeah,
no?
Baron just, like, speeds up the game. And that sounds like like Herder, like, of course, yes, but it's how you set up the map, right? Like, it means you bounce sideways, waves infinitely quicker, and it allows you to do whatever you want, just, like, in triple the speed. Like, you push side lanes and then you group mid for a comp, as I say time and time again, like so much AoE CC, they are really like a 10-member on your screen, we want to fight you comp. Baron is exactly what you need to close out the games, and the fact that they were willing to just straight up start the Baron, like 50-50 if you want to call it that, they have tools to keep their MS away. Like, that I don't think was a we must do Baron now play, that was a we just want to fight now play, right? It's on upgraded items on himself, of course, but also has the IE on the Yasuo. So they just hit their spikes and they were like, look, given all the turrets were up, they've only taken a single one in 28 minutes of play. It was hard to make things happen through the side lanes and build like a numbers mismatch, how you traditionally force a fight. They're just like, look, we'll just hit the worm and you have to walk over here, and yeah, it worked.
I'm just happy I kind of semi-called that. I'm just like, hey, guess what? I want to see him get more aggressive. Boom, they got more aggressive, and it worked out for him. Now I want to see him continue this aggression and, you know, keep Legacy on the back foot. Grouping in mid could be the way to do it, but they need to be careful. Chungy is roaming up from the river, so a flank opportunity could be there for Legacy should they choose to find this fight. Paladin, though, with his 6th sense, is able to figure out that one, so Chungy will retreat possibly back to the bot lane, or?
Yeah, they spotted him on the dot bush, so walked over some vision. They kind of knew he was in the bush. The big thing, and the big good news story for Mprox, is that they didn't have to use any summoners taking down the Baron. I expect Ornn, yeah, he flashed over the back of the pit, so he loses a flash, but he's got a spell book, so who cares? The big one really is on Artek, and to win a team fight around Baron with this comp, without having to expend your main engage tool's flash, is super useful, so the threat is enough to just break that turret. Legacy having to concede right now, and looking to be much more on the defensive as they push out these side lanes.
This has been a much slower paced game than what we're used to seeing, I feel, on the OCS. Nearly 30 minutes into this one, only 2 towers down aside. The Baron, yes, was super helpful for Mprox, but they haven't converted it into too much yet in terms of map pressure. Like, yeah, we just saw them all group mid and take down that mid tower, but aside from that, they're actually kind of being shoved in right now as Legacy did capitalize a bit on the recall. That's it, Featherstorm coming down, Artek getting very aggressive. Here comes Ornn, he only connects with one, but it's the important one. Drakon will go down.
Flashes in a straight line against the skill shot, knocks him up anyway, and Drakon does fall down. I was about to say, like, yes, a single turret with Baron, they just need to go. They have the buttons available, but they will find themselves a pick once again without using Alistar Flash, and this could be the cue to break open the base. 30 seconds left on the 80 carry. Chungy and Appy are the 2 strongest members on the team, and they are still alive.
Yeah,
Baron
Abby's
is
sitting
going to
on the
fall
flank,
off.
but Abby will get spotted. Artek making his way there right now. Paladin also up in that front line, just zoning away. Legacy is there's the root. Abby is in a bit of trouble as everyone's surrounding him. Lisa trying to possibly find a way to get there. Here comes the dredge line. Chungy with the follow-up. They get to the back line, and Abby is unstoppable.
Oh.
Pop Blossom, though, comes up huge for Mprox, and they're trying to turn this one around. Paladin in that front line is taking so much abuse. A big ultimate from Mboba actually gets the kill onto K-Pop. Lisa trying to flash away, will escape, but Oppie is still kind of on his own on that flank. Still could be looking for something. Drakon returning to the fight. Artek with a big engage, a double knockup, and just like that, Oppie is able to find the flank though, and he's staying alive. Good little juke. He's able to walk away. That inhibitor should be the target. Mprox finally getting to work on it as Oppie and Lisa retreat.
Yeah, the LeBlanc absolutely just saved the game. Drakon comes out of the death chamber just to go right back in. Walks at an Alistar, gets comboed in the head, and is like, oh crap, guys, I'm dead. Yeah, that was an interesting turn of events. Mprox played the initial fight incredibly well. Chungy is like the one man you're looking at to turn this around. He gets immediately exhausted, and then you're a Riven diving into the Pop Blossom. You really don't have many other opportunities, so Legacy's team fight just falls to the wayside. Mprox, off the back end of a very nice pick onto the Xayah, finally do break open the base at 31 minutes.
Does this actually work? Because this is the slowest dragon I have seen it post 30 minutes in a very long time. But backup is there for Legacy, so the Mountain Drake will be secured. Mprox just does not seem to care at all about this. They're more concerned about grouping mid, trying to take advantage of this exposed inhibitor with Baron coming up very shortly.
That's the thing. Top right-hand corner of your screen, 30 seconds on the clock, and mid priority is going to be very easy to come by for Mprox, given they do have the super creep, so looking to push their vision line forwards. That is a dangerous game K-Pop's playing.
Yeah, Artek is able to get onto K-Pop, and the dredge line not very successful, so Flash has to be burned. Stunned in place, though. K-Pop's so low, he's going to have to recall, and with Baron about to spawn, this could be an opening for Mprox.
Yeah, and immediately support mains just look at his Sightstone. 3 wards still available, so he walked out of base, placed a single one down, and then got thrown right back to the fountain. Legacy is definitely struggling to hold on to any sort of vision control right now. The TP comes through from Berserker as Mprox. They just want to commit. Yeah,
they want to commit. They've got rid of the blasting cone as well, which means Legacy has to walk in blind. Keep your eyes on Lisa. He's going after Mboma, but backs away. Meanwhile, Berserker, a great Tangle Barb, holds 2 in place as Lisa gets blown up. Here comes the Pop Blossom. It only hits with Chunky. The follow-up from Ornn actually does barely comes through. It hits with K-Pop as Chunky has gone down, but Abby is being huge right now. Takes down Liv. He might want more. Health bar's very low for Berserker. He has to run away, but it's a double kill for Abby, and he is looking to get a triple. Paladin flashing over the wall will escape.
And so many times in the OCS, we see the one-man army countering the Baron, and Appy is the only member Legacy fans need right now. The LeBlanc does everything in that fight, finds himself a cheeky little blue buff to make the pot even sweeter, but that was such a weird fight. Lisa hits him with the drive-by. It's like the slow comes out from the glory, but he doesn't pop the Powerball and just continues on going, kind of baits them through. A couple of key interactions did happen. The Riven flashed over the headbutt from Alistar, and you can see kind of Artek's job this entire game has been, like, it's not the flash combo to start the fight, it's the headbutt the Rammus away, headbutt the Riven away, and keep people off my carries. As soon as Legacy found their way on top of the Heimerdinger, on top of the Yasuo, then find themselves another team fight and still clinging to hope this game. Over the course of time, they've got 4 dragons to play with.
This is interesting. Oppie is possibly looking for more, but the entirety of Mprox is there, which means Legacy has to react. Teleport is available for Chunky. Should he opt to teleport in? I imagine it's going to be soon. Here it comes. The teleport's coming in super deep. Abby going in deep as well, as able to bring down Berserker and get away. Here comes Chunky on that flank, and Mboma's the target. No way this Heimerdinger can escape. This is looking like a wash for Mprox, but Mboma is starting to actually turn things around, perhaps. No, Legacy win the fight.
And Distortion's back over the wall. Appy comes up with the goods time and time again, barely living on 100 HP. Chungy TP's in from the side lane, but Legacy once again out of nowhere. Gold lead 3,000, Baron on 4 members. This game is completely swung on its head, like round number 7, I think.
It's just been back and forth, and I feel a lot of it has to do with whether or not Mprox has the proper vision. Because when they don't have the vision and Appy or Chungy are able to find their way into that back line and kind of catch people by surprise, that's when Mprox's comp falls apart.
Yeah, and I kind of like have to somewhat disagree, because they had vision, right?
Yeah.
They just, it's not like the lack of vision, it's just the disrespect. Berserker walks to the back of the pit, places down that ward, and sees the LeBlanc, but somehow he still gets a double distort onto the back line. This is a 10-1 LB right now.
Yeah,
he's definitely not struggling to find damage, and when you group up as 3...
Oh, Berserker in a bit of trouble right now. Lift is there to try and help him out. Artec, again, acting as that front line, but Obby, he's just playing over the walls, looking for those opportunities, and being so annoying for Emprox right now, while being really the hero for Legacy.
Yeah, it means Chongi actually gets access to the top inhib as well. Emprox just not willing to pull the trigger right now. No flash for Alistar this time, which is something we've been hitting on time and time again, but not going to have that cooldown available. Ornn can start fights off if he wants, but...
What scares me right now, if you're an Emprox fan, is the fact that Chongi has the QSS and the stopwatch available. So if he gets to that back line, he is staying there and he is not going to die.
Yeah, it really is just a headbutt. It's like the only thing you can deal with. If he flashes over the top of it in a couple of minutes when that summoner comes available, there's nothing you can do, but all of the turrets outside of the base do end up being broken. Legacy now, inhib respawn to the mid lane and looking to break the base of their opponents.
Yeah, they're looking to break that base and perhaps find that opening to get to the top 2. Interesting action going on right now. You have the Elder Dragon spawning in 10 seconds, and that could be the key that Legacy needs.
And that's the story of this game, right? Like, Emprox spent so much time grouping as 5, looking for things, and because Legacy won those fights, they got themselves like a free Air Dragon, a free Mountain Dragon. Now that they've turned this one around, they have the Baron. This is going to be double super buffs as they pick up the Elder uncontested. Emprox unable to leave their walls right now, and only becoming increasingly harder to defend.
Yeah, this could be the siege that possibly ends the game. Legacy, everything in their favor at the present moment. They even have a free path into the base, and Boma was the target for Abby. Not going to bring him down this time around, but a quick rotation to the bot side could be another tower gone. Only Livid is able to respond at the moment. 3 members strong from Legacy. This tower stands no chance. It's already gone. That's another exposed inhibitor. Meanwhile, though, Chongi is in top. In mid lane is Lisa, so Emprox being spread thin, and they can't commit anywhere. Down goes the inhibitor.
It's a fight on 3 fronts, and they've already lost 2 inhibs. They have the Ornn, they have the Alistar. They need to get the fight rolling. If they lose 3 without contest, this is
essentially Emprox is going to put all their eggs in one team fight basket, and it's got to happen now. Artec as well as Paladin should be your main sources of engage. They are the ones to watch. Can they get to Appy? Can they stop Chongi, who has the GA completed as well?
And you see Legacy just going for the full spread. Nobody stacking on top of anyone. You can see the communication has been there. They don't want to give extra value to the engage. If they go on one person, the rest can collapse. Triple carry threat composition right now. Appy
not going to find it this time around. Baron buff is gone, so a small break in Emprox's favor, but this siege is still coming from 3 fronts. Super minions are starting to pour into this base, and Emprox just feel like they can't do anything to stop it.
Yeah, the distort there from Appy is quicker than Artec on the headbutt, so you can see with the Elder is just dealing so much damage for free without response right now. Nexus turret goes to half HP.
Yeah, Nexus tower had happened. Here comes 2 more super minions straight from the mid lane. Will they be able to get through? Emprox grouped as 5 right now. It's sort of this defensive knuckle that Legacy is scared to jump in, but Artec chunked way out of this fight, and with no Alistar, that's when the engage tool, but it comes at a good time as there are no minions, at least just yet. Here come 4 more supers, though. This could be the siege that possibly ends it. Emprox playing such a patient game. They do not want to throw this one. Drakon trying to get some autos in on that tower, but it's too scared to step forward.
Ulti.
Here comes the ulti from Artec, but no real follow-up, so that's actually a big ultimate down from Emprox again.
Appy is just getting so much value. Every distort landing, all of the skill shots going wide here for Emprox. The Heimerdinger sitting on 0 mana, spending everything to deal with these multiple waves of super creeps. He's sitting on 10%. He hasn't base jet, and the fight is
here we
coming.
go. Appy goes in deep, and this is the fight. Chongi with the follow-up. His Lisa is super, super deep. Paw Blossom to try and turn it around. Does not connect with many. The Ornn through the middle does help get the shutdown. Appy is dead, and that is a lot of the damage for Emprox, but it does not matter because Legacy will wipe this fight, and they should take down the Nexus and this game. We're just seeing, you know, the cleanup crew right now. The Nexus will explode, so it was a valiant defense that went way too long, but Legacy does pull it off in the end.
Yeah, and that was just about the result, right? Like, Legacy really, over the course of that game, like, we're looking at early stages, first 15, it looks rough. Like, the Rammus isn't connected, they're not finding the ganks, but they start playing 3 lanes, they stall that one out, they somehow get given a point where they have triple inhibs just flinging stuff at the Nexus. Appy is just distorting in, throwing a chain, throwing a Q. And there you go, that's a victory, well needed.
Yeah, well needed for Legacy right now, who they were sitting, like, tied for 4th coming into this, but only 1 game behind that top 2.
Yeah.
Mprox dropping down. Now Legacy is only looking at possibly somehow getting past Dire Cups, which could happen because Dire Cups play Mprox next week. Legacy might find themselves in that top 2 position.
100%. All of these games matter. Like, when you get to the top of the ladder, it's top 6 progress, and there's only 3 wins between them, right? Everybody plays each other once, so it's not like there's history between the 2 teams, but yeah, keep their resolve against what was a pretty baller composition there from Mprox, like hard engage, first pick Yasuo. We saw Legacy's mindset in draft. I think they come in, they ban the Mord, they ban the Kiana. They just want standard stuff. They played some League of Legends and certainly picked up the video. That was game number 1 though, guys. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in 3 minutes for game number 2.